Hey guys, what's going on? It's Xados here. I'm going to teach you effective ways to use your Shadow Priest in arenas, how to work the spec with the right talents and glyphs, and also a bit about reforging add-ons. So yeah, I hope you enjoy. Okay guys, so let's jump right in. Keep in mind that there are a few talents and glyphs that you just switch out naturally depending on what class you come against. But there is a setup that I keep for 80% of most fights. So we'll run through that, and then I'll talk a little bit about the ones that you do need to switch out every now and again. The level 15 choice, I 90% of the time go with Psyfiend. It's a great talent. I'd like to use it before I use my Psychic Scream, because it means I can place this, get a fear off. If they get rid of that, then I know I can rush in and fear them again. The reason I don't use Void Tendrils very much is because there are a lot of classes they can get out of Root. Warriors, Druids, Mage, and Monks are just a couple of them. Using Psyfiend against the warrior is completely useless. Use Void Tendrils. To be honest, this row is quite useless against warriors, but Psyfiend is really effective for a second fear. And it's nice to be able to track it with an add-on that I'll go through in a bit. A second choice for level 30, Angelic Feather. Doesn't go wrong really. I mean, if you're trying to chase someone down and they're not slowing you down properly, this is just amazing. You'll see in a couple of videos where hunters, definitely hunters are great for chasing down, especially Shadow Priests as well, because the only slow they have is Mind Flay. So unless you've got someone that's really slowing you down, you won't need Phantasm. You need some sort of ability. Angelic Feather is definitely the way to go. Body and Soul, more for probably BGs, I'd say, with the Leap of Faith, but go with Angelic Feather. 3 charges of 80% speed boost for 6 seconds. Now that's really good. And at the level 45 we come to probably the most disputed talent line across all Shadow Priests. Now there is no dispute that Solace and Insanity kills an enemy faster than Darkness Comes Light. Solace and Insanity increasing your Mind Flay damage by 100% when you have all 3 orbs, or 66% or 33% depending on how many orbs you have. Now if you've got all of your dots on the enemy and you start casting Mind Flay, that's going to do a lot of damage, especially with a Shadow Fiend up. This is essentially your kill shot. You basically use this when they're about 40% health, you silence them, and it's goodbye really. From Darkness Comes Light, I use this because I play with a healer. I think I probably would go to Solace and Insanity if I wasn't, because I'd be faster at nuking them. I don't think this is probably fast enough just for me on my own. From Darkness Comes Light makes Mind Spike do more damage than Mind Blast, and it also is 4 times more likely to proc the instant than Divine Insight for Mind Blast as well. And you can have 2 charges as well. So if I have Vampiric Embrace, which is the dot proc for it, on a Hunter, his pet, Warlock and his pet, that's 2 people, and I don't actually like to have the dot on the healer because if I'm playing with my Holy Paladin friend, he uses Repentance and is just going to get rid of it. So making sure you can CC without doing too much damage to the healer is really effective. The level 60 talent line, Spectral Guise is a no-brainer. The other 2 are heals. If you've got a healer on you, this is essentially useless, and having Spectral Guise for an opener is just amazing. It does confuse the hell out of people. There are a couple of videos, actually I've probably already uploaded one, I think it was the Arms Warrior one, where you can just go in Viz, wait by the side, and they're completely clueless. I think that's probably one of my favourite talents of the whole spec. And for the level 75 talent line, I'm using, and I have always been using, Divine Insight. It's a great way obviously to put all your dots on someone, or all the enemies in the arena. Instant cast as well. It does drain your mana, so watch out. You'll probably end up having half mana for the first 30 seconds of the game if it's constantly getting dispelled and you're just casting that on everyone. Make sure you've got your Vampiric Touch as well, because not only will that boost your mana loads if you've got it on everyone, but you're also getting the insanely high damage proc crits from Darkness Comes Light, so keep up with that one. The other 2, Power Infusion and Twist of Fate, they seem more like PvE spells to me, and that one obviously for healer spec, maybe for PvP. For the level 90 talent line, now none of these are fantastic. I mean, Halo can do some amazing damage when it's ranged, but if you have any close quarter combat enemy on you, do not go with Halo. Even if you can root them, they'll probably get out of it some way, and you still need to run at least 25 yards for it to be effective. So don't go with Halo, it will drain your mana and it's not effective in arenas. Definitely go for BGs or something. A Cascade can do some nice damage. I think it normally does between 16 and 20k non-crits, but you're only really hitting one target, and it doesn't heal you, which is why I go for Divine Star, because you can hit your enemy twice, and you can heal yourself twice as well. It's really a nice all-round spell, and it's got a much shorter cooldown and much less mana as well, and it's also great for getting people out of invis. So yeah, that's my 90% of the time I run this spec. Now let's move on to glyphs. These glyphs are for... Actually, these glyphs are for the vast majority of arenas, because you've got a 10% damage reduction from Fade, which I attach using a macro to Mind Blast, so I basically always have it up. You can forget to add, sort of add Fade, because it just seems like such a randomly useless sort of spell, but when you actually have the 10% damage reduction and you attach it to a spell you're using frequently, it's really, really effective to keep 10% damage off you every 30 seconds or 10 seconds, so it's a third of the fight you have 10% damage reduction. On top of that, keep Glyph of Inner Sanctum going, because you get a 6% spell reduction when you've got Inner Fire up. This is really, really good, because it means you get a 16% spell damage reduction combined against, a third of the fight against all spellcasters, and probably a lot of DK spells as well. So keep that one, definitely. And for this one, is amazingly effective for close quarter combat fight, like monks, warriors, rogues, DKs, especially when you're getting so many instacasts from the Shadow Ward Pain procs. This essentially freezes them in place for 4 seconds, and I've never really seen them get out. If they do get out and they trinket, then that's just GG, really, because you've made them trinket from a glyph. So this is a really, really strong setup. I use this for the 90% of fights. When I'm against people that are not spellcasters, obviously I've switched to Inner Fire. It gives me a bit of armor reduction. I think it gives 57% physical reduction or something crazy, on top of 10% and everything. And of course, if you're going against a mage or you're going against a paladin, switch out to Master Spell and bind it to something that you can use easily. Mine's on mouse wheel up. I mean, the radius of this thing is great, and always try to predetermine it. So if you see that are about 100k health and you've got loads of dots on them, just start casting it straight away. Even do a fake cast. If you can get it to halfway, do it again like that, rather than wait till they bubble or ice block and then end up casting and just get CC'd, and then they've got their health back. So the better you get as a player, the faster you'll get at dispelling it, and it'll become a really, really effective way. I also like to use Psychic Horror against warriors and other spellcasters. I'd probably swap that out for something like that, rather than just having the extra bit of damage reduction, especially if I've got a healer on me. Having this means it's a 10-second reduction on Psychic Horror, which means I've got a more fluid CC chain, especially when combined with my paladin friend who's got Repentance, Blind, Stun. Combine that with the Silence. Having a 10% reduction on that can actually sway a lot of fights in your favour. Yeah, so I think that's actually covered the glyphs and talents for the majority of fights. I hope you guys can copy these and sort of see why I've gone with them. See if you can switch around your playstyle and make it work to your advantage. There are lots of other glyphs that you can use. Sometimes Reflective Shield is really effective against Chaos Bolts. It'll probably reflect about 50k damage, and that's 50k damage that you can just use every single time you get a Chaos Bolt on you, really. If you get feared to a Chaos Bolt, just try and get any way to get out of any CC before the Chaos Bolt comes. If you've got Dispersion, you've got Trinket, you've got Fear Ward, make sure that Chaos Bolt is in any way reduced, and try and fade it as well, because any damage taken off Chaos Bolt is going to be effective, because that's their main damage output. So yeah, I'm going to move on to Reforging now, and I'm going to talk about how Reforging really works with this setup. Alright guys, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the Reforging and how the bonuses from haste that you get from Reforging and the gems as well really work with the spec. Just really effective at keeping the dots up and keeping their damage going. Any Reforging you want to split between critical strike and haste. Do all of that from mastery or spirit. Make sure your hit chances are around between 0 and 1.5%. You don't want to get it too high, and you don't want to get rid of all your spirit, so you end up missing, any more than that percentage of shots really. Now, if I attach obviously you get your 5% haste from that. So my stats at the moment: 34.9% haste, followed by 22.66% crit. Before all the reforging and the gems, it was much lower. So if you do switch to this, it's a really cost-effective way of getting much better stats as well. I think you'll really notice the benefits, and you also get to keep quite high spell power as well. So on the helmet, the best thing to reforge is critical strike from mastery, and for the gem as well, you'll use the Quickson's Radiance. And keep this for every single gem slot that you have. I think it might be 8 or 9 in total, you can count through them. 320 haste boost, and you'll get the enchant for the belt, which will give you 2 slots for that, and essentially anywhere you can find a gem, add the Quickson's Radiance to it. The total haste rating is probably around 2,500 to 2,750 or something crazy. And you get that boost just from all the gems. On top of that, you'll have the enchants on the gloves for haste, and I believe you can get it on the boost for haste as well, but I just wanted to go a bit with hit to get my mischance down. On the neck, you'll want to reforge critical strike. You already get haste, so anything that you've already got haste on, reforge mastery to critical strike, and anything that you haven't got haste on, reforge it into haste. Mastery or spirit, the best things to reforge. As I said before, just don't go too high on the hit. In terms of enchants, you can do intellect on the braces. I went with spirit on the chest piece to get a reduced mischance. Intellect on the cloak. You've got the crane wing obviously on the shoulders, and I think it's the celluline thread on the legs. So all in all, it's not too expensive at all really to get all the gems. I think they're about 30 gold each for the gems. The enchants for that is about 400. I think the wind song I've got at the moment, I'm going to get Jade Spirit soon. I think it's about 1,000. Jade Spirit, of course, giving you an intellect bonus. This at the moment, wind song just giving me a random stat bonus, which isn't really as effective as the intellect bonus. So yeah, go through everything. You don't worry too much about the socket bonuses, because that's not really gonna matter too much. What really matters is maxing out your haste and getting a really nice haste and crit bonus percentages. Now, the way that this works really well with the talent spec is that both are dot talents. So what works best with dots, and that's of course haste. You can get lots and lots of procs with these, especially if you've got someone on your team running mastery, which will give you the more time to give a double dot. So having haste and the mastery comp can go really well, which is why you want your dots on everyone all the time. And this just constantly boosts effectiveness, getting all these enchants with the haste. You'll notice a massive difference when you switch to this. I definitely did, and I didn't actually reduce any spell power really at all, because I did have a few intellect gems, and when I got rid of all those, my spell power really stayed the same, and my crit chance and haste went right up after switching everything around. So yeah, I think you guys should really try this out. It was not too expensive. Give it a go, see how your stats change, and yeah, feedback to me. I'd love to hear what you think. Hey guys, just a quick wrap up. Sorry if I mess up or anything, or sort of give any little bits of information that are a little bit wrong. It's my first commentary. I was a little bit nervous of doing it, but I really enjoyed it. So if you guys learn anything from it, please let me know. I'd love to hear some feedback. If you want to see more videos like this in the future, I'll talk a little bit more of the things I mentioned that I didn't manage to fit in. So yeah, stay tuned. Thanks for watching.